Welcome to the third episode of our Monster of the Week series, everyone. This series, we welcomed Tyler Samples, keeper of the Mystery County Monster Hunters Club podcast, to join us to learn all about this horror urban fantasy RPG from Evil Hat Productions. In today's episode, we finish our extremely normal characters, but before we get to all of that, here's what to expect in our calls to action. You can join me here after the show to hear about the latest One Shot Network news, including the One Shot Network Patreon drive. We'll also have information about our Patreon, patron thank yous, and a social call to action. With all of that out of the way, enjoy the show, everyone. On the last episode of Character Creation Cast, Tyler was creating a professional named Grantham McAllister. Abelia was creating a crooked named Tennessee Novella. And I was creating a gumshoe Muppet named Flapjack the Cat. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Enjoy.
So my next one's Underworld. Pick how you discovered about the real underworld. Keep in mind that when you select your moves in the next section, so that everything fits together, blah, blah, blah. All right. The target of a job was a dangerous creature. Pick one: vampire, werewolf, troll, or reptiloid.
Mm-hmm.
You worked with someone who was more than they seemed. Pick one: sorcerer, demon, fairy, psychic. You were hired by something weird. Pick one: immortal, god, outsider, or witch. Things went south on a job, including, but not limited to, running into, choose one, a horde of goblins, a hunger of ghouls, a dream eater, a salamander. What's a salamander? I mean, aside from just like being a salamander.
A salamander, gosh, in the supernatural sense, right? You had salamanders on Mystery County before.
We did have our whole first season was chock full of salamanders, but we just played them as humanoid amphibians, forcibly evolved against their will. I believe in a classical sense, salamanders are fire-dwelling amphibians.
Yeah.
Who are essentially fire goblins, but salamanders.
I see.
I do like that a group of ghouls is called a hunger.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that and being like, ooh,
that's cool.
That's
very
well
evocative.
done. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you worked with someone who was more than they seemed, pick one. That can be
great.
Someone with special powers.
Sorcerer, demon, fairy, or psychic.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I think psychic is the one that kind of freaks me out the most. So.
Interesting. Okay, so then there is a psychic that you worked with and then took advantage. Worked with, learned about the real world of supernatural, immediately took advantage of them, and now they are your enemy.
Yes.
So your introduction to the world was also the creation of one of your
one of my
primary enemies.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. And their ability is being psychic.
Yep.
That is so interesting. What's their name?
So that is the person that I named Greer.
Greer. Okay, great. So Greer is a psychic, and presumably then human?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we have psychics and Muppets. I love it.
Some strong world building here. Psychic 100%. Muppets. We don't know yet.
And then that's it for your character until we get into like the shared history stuff.
Yes.
So now it is time for my professional to take the stage. So my next move is agency. Decide who I work for, whether they're a black budget government department, a clandestine police team, a private individual's crusade, a corporation, or something else. I think I work for an agency that is going to be called what's coming to mind is McAllister's Aid, and it is something started by my grandfather. It was a public. My grandfather, who is or my great grandfather, was a robber baron billionaire who's very much in the I'm trying to think of who those people are on the West Coast. All of the fancy people from the 1890s who made. I feel like in Pittsburgh, there's a bunch of buildings that endowments and stuff like the Vanderbilts or
the Astor.
Waldorf.
Yes, Waldorf.
Yeah, Astoria. It's
so it's all the train
it's all the train people. It's people who are evil, but
tycoons.
Then did a bunch of quote unquote public good.
Yes,
tycoons. So this is a public good offering, and I am, the great grandson of that, and I could not care less about it. But I am in a position of authority within it. So that is what it is. So it is a private, essentially a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a private nonprofit that deals with monster hunting. And then I picked their goal: to destroy monsters, to study the supernatural, to protect people, to gain power, or something else. And I think I'm going to kind of blend these all, which is officially it is to protect people. Unofficial, but in reality, it is to gain power through studying and emulating the supernatural. It's just R&D. Is all it is. It's just a cover for R&D. And then I get to pick 2 resource tags for the agency and 2 red tape tags. So for resources, my options are that we're well armed, well financed, rigorous training, official pull, cover identities, offices all over, good intel, recognized authority, weird tech gadgets, or support teams. We're definitely well financed.
Yes.
Because of the billionaire-ness of it all and the tycoon-ness of it all. We do not have rigorous training or cover identities. I think I'm really tempted to do weird tech gadgets, and I am going to do weird tech gadgets.
I like it.
That is what that is going to be. And then for red tape, dubious motives, bureaucratic, secretive hierarchy, cryptic missions, hostile superiors, interdepartmental rivalry, budget cuts, take no prisoners policy, live capture policy. Red tape, because we're trying to study these for power, definitely a live capture policy. And I guess I already established the other one, which is dubious motives. Yeah. Yes. So that is what exists. Is McAllister's Aid is a supposedly benevolent source in the world that started about 100 years ago. So now we get to introductions. So we've all caught up. We get to go around the group. We would introduce ourselves, which we kind of already have. So now what we do is go around the group and we pick history for our characters. And this is how they connect and relate to someone else at the table. So Ryan, you went first. Do you want to just go around again and pick the first one from your history?
Yeah,
that you want to use?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 of them to choose from. Gosh, there's a lot of them in here. I'm just reading them quick.
Yeah, and these are we probably don't need to, and it's kind of fun not to read through all of them, just to give people who are going to play some sense of surprise. They're usually they're rooted specifically to your playbook. So every playbook has its own list of possible ways in which you are connected to another person. And they range from historical, like bumping into each other at crucial moments, to having like long-standing, ongoing relationships that continue to persist. The whole point of all of this is that we establish very quickly. And one of the things I also like about Monster of the Week is you're never playing the first time that you've all worked together. You establish that as something that already happened, and that's how you kind of do a lot of world building, is through this establishment of history, of establishing the background that we all mutually share together.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm wondering if I need to, because one of them talks about my code. I have not come up with my code yet.
Right. Yeah, you do need to do the code.
Okay, so for the gumshoe with the agreement of the keeper, which Tyler's double dipping here and kind of acting as right now, pick a 1-sentence code that your gumshoe adheres to. Gosh, what was I thinking earlier?
What would Kermit do?
Oh, no, it's never break character.
Never break character. Wow, that's really good. Huh.
Yeah. So that's my Muppet code, is to never break character.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Is that every Muppet's code, or is that just yours?
It's specific. It's like a kind of like a rule of thumb for a lot of Muppets, but like some Muppets are free to do that.
I love that.
Flapjack takes it a little too seriously.
Yeah.
And is always Flapjack the cat.
Yeah. What I love about this is that it means that in this world there are Muppets, and everybody is used to them because they operate like, there are these characters, but they're not really those characters. But nobody in the world necessarily knows that. It's like having like Faye come down and be like, look at me, I'm a little fairy, and be like, and then later it's all the like character actors at Disneyland who go somewhere else to take their heads off and smoke their cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like, if Elmo's doing stuff with like a TV show or whatever, right? They're talking to Elmo, but there's obviously somebody controlling them. They're just never shown. So like the person controlling Flapjack the cat is just never on screen.
Right.
Right. Is there someone living inside a Flapjack the cat suit?
Presumably.
See, that's so interesting, because to me, what I immediately
this just gives me so many questions. Okay.
No, I love this so much, because to me, what I was immediately like was like, oh yeah, so there is a hand up Flapjack controlling it, but in the same way that we can't see in the fourth dimension, but we exist in it, that it's just like something else. It is just like an old god type, like beyond human comprehension, operating this avatar that is a literal Muppet.
I liked the thought that you could break the fourth wall with this sort of character and talk to the operator behind the Muppet. But that would be breaking this character's code.
Yeah, right. I think it's also, I do have a pitch. Since we know that psychics are real, what if it is psychics that are operating these Muppets?
Oh, interesting.
Psychically operated Muppets?
Like, I don't know. I just love, I mean, it is your character, so you get to decide. I do think the idea that somewhere like in a bed, like wasting away, is the person who is running Flapjack the cat.
That feels a little, I don't know. I want the person to be present.
Okay, great. So they're just inside. They're just inside.
Yeah, this is a human-sized
also
Muppet.
Equally.
I don't know. I love the idea that that's somebody's day job, that they just like work out of a Starbucks, like hop onto the Wi-Fi and like
just run a Muppet.
That's
great.
Either way.
Okay, so we might as well do the moves section first, because this is the other part that helps flush out world. So never break character is your code, which applies to some of your moves. Do you want to describe your 3 gumshoe moves that you get? You get 2 of them automatically, and then you get to pick a third.
Yep. So the 2 that I get is Occult Confidential. The first time in each mystery that you observe a monster, minion, or phenomenon in action, I can ask 1 question from the Investigate a Mystery list. So I automatically get that. And the Naked City, you have lots of personal contacts wherever you go. I can pick 4 contact types from the following areas, or from other areas agreed to you between you and the keeper. And there's a lot on here. I want, let's see, film and TV for sure. Because I'm a Muppet and this is a role. Let's say journalists.
Ooh.
Because we do a lot of press tours. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's we?
Technologists would make a lot of sense too, right?
Yeah.
Because like you got people that need to come up with the rigs and stuff for certain Muppets and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
I feel
would
like
be
you
a
are
really...
playing your own game over here.
I'm see, Tyler said a very specific thing. It's hard to break Monster of the Week. So I am in full goblin mode at this point. And honestly, something just kind of off the wall, I guess. Property developers.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So it's property developers, TV and film,
journalists and technologists. Yeah,
you have your fingers in all of the major columns of modern society.
Exactly. Why not?
The more that you describe it, the more I'm like, man, there is something really nefarious about these Muppets. I feel like somehow they're tied to these tycoons. Like there's something weird. So you get those two moves. What is the third? Do you have a whole slew of possible options?
Yeah, there's 7 additional options here. I get to choose one of them. Gosh, the long goodbye kind of sounds fun for this character. You can't die with an open case, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of funny.
You are a Muppet, and you refuse to break character. As long as you don't break character, you can't die.
I do also like Asphalt Jungle. You heal faster than normal people, right? Which also kind of makes sense for a Muppet. Although the Columbo, just one more thing, feels perfect for this character because like they're a Muppet in a trench coat and like with the world weary face. And is Flapjack the cat Columbo? Maybe.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm 100% on board.
Oh, it's very good. So that's my moves.
Great.
So what, the long goodbye and just one more thing?
No, just one more thing. The long goodbye was a thing I was considering, but just one more thing is too good to pass up.
Fair enough.
Once Flapjack sufficiently levels up, you can get into the long goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, Amelia, you're next for picking moves.
Yeah, I also had a background to pick.
Right.
So I picked Charlatan.
Cool.
Yeah, nice. When you want people to think you're using magic, roll plus cool. On a 10 or more, your audience is amazed and fooled by your illusion. On a 7 to 9, you tripped up a couple of times. Maybe someone will notice. You may also manipulate people with fortune telling. When you do that, ask, what are they hoping for right now is a free question, even on a miss.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I wonder, that's making me wonder if the psychic that you met thought you were another psychic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how you took advantage of them.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I like the idea that like, I'm just like very good at reading people and pattern recognition.
100%.
Like what? I don't know anything about that in real life. To the point where you can tell what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yes, I am neurodivergent. It's fine.
you get the basic moves, which we talked about earlier, and then you get to pick 2 of the crooked moves.
Yeah.
For yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide like what feels right. I do think home ground feels good.
What does that one do?
That one is your crew made this is so small. I have to like make this bigger. I put on my glasses. I'm still trying to read. Okay. Your crew made a point of keeping locals happy, keeping them safe, ensuring things went down okay. When you're back in your old neighborhood, you can always find people who will hide you or help you with a minor favor. No questions asked.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
At that one. Then I had to pick another one. I mean, I feel like crew goes well with that. You have a regular crew, a team of 3 or 4 people who will help you out with pretty much anything. They count as a team.
That's great. Yeah, so those are like permanent NPCs that you basically run as sidekicks, which is very fun. Okay, cool. So you have your moves, and now I think it is my turn.
Yep.
To pick mine. I pick. So.
Ooh, did you pick your gear before either?
I have not picked my gear yet. No,
okay.
My gear is on the first page. It's always a little bit of a mess, but I'll go ahead and pick my gear first just to say this. So I either get a flak vest or combat armor. The flak vest is hidden, so I'm taking that for sure because there's no way I'd be caught dead wearing Kevlar openly. It's just not a good look. No. I get to pick one serious weapon. My options are assault rifle, grenade launcher, sniper rifle, grenades, or a submachine gun.
All very serious.
All very serious. I think I diffidently carry a grenade launcher around.
I knew that was...
But very... I say this with like no homophobic intent. That is not what it is at all. But like the limp wrist where it's just sort of delicately holding something where you're sort of like, like it's that kind of wealth that you have where you're like, my fingertips are a little too soft to really like do a firm grip. Mm-hmm. That is how I hold my grenade launcher, just kind of over one shoulder the same way I would like a nice bag or a nice jacket.
Yeah. Well, obviously you have it in like a Louis Vuitton case.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Completely custom.
Louis Vuitton.
100. And then for normal weapons, I have either a 38 revolver, a 9mm, a hunting rifle, a shotgun, or a big knife. I get to pick two of those. I have a 38 revolver and a 9mm. I can't tell which one's which.
Love that. Love that for you.
I just picked, I thought I picked one gun. They told me to pick stuff. I just grabbed two guns. I just have, I've got some guns. I don't know. Yeah. I called
you like assumed
guns.
That you were just getting like one and then like just in case you lost that one, like that they were the same.
Actually, that's what it was I thought I lost one. So I got a different one. And then it turned out that it actually was just in my car and I hadn't noticed it. So but I just haven't bothered returning it. So I just have two guns.
Great.
That's very good.
In terms of moves, the one that I come with is deal with the agency. So when I deal with the agency requesting help or gear or making excuses for a failure, I roll plus sharp. On a 10 plus, I'm good. I either get the gear or personnel okayed or my slip up goes unnoticed. On a 7 to 9, things aren't so great. I might get chewed out by my superiors and there will be fallout, but I get what I need for the job. On a miss, I screw up and I might be suspended or under investigation or just in the doghouse, but I'm not going to get any help until I sort it all out.
Okay, I want to point out that it's roll plus sharp, but your sharp is -1.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Just for the audience following along at home.
Exactly. And to be clear, my superior is my mother.
Oh,
this is like an Archer situation. And so I get to pick 3 other moves here. I think I have to take unfazable, which is I get a +1 to cool.
Oh, man.
So my cool is very high. I have a +3 in cool, which is the highest that you can get.
Wow.
Because so cool. I'm just insulated by wealth,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just don't need to think about things. Yeah. It's also why I'm so tough is just I work out a lot because I can afford to. Let's see. I definitely don't know. Let's see. Okay. I am going to take bottle it up as one. If I want, when I act under pressure, I can add up to +3 to my roll. For each plus that I use, the keeper gets a hold of 1 that they can use later to give me a -1 on any other move on a 1-to-1 ratio. So I can be better at acting under pressure when I need to, but then the keeper gets to make me worse at everything else at any point they choose.
Amazing.
Which feels to me very much like the fragile cannon that is a rich Nepo monster hunter.
Yes.
And the third one, I'm going to go with mobility. I have a truck, van, or car built for monster hunting. I get to choose 2 good things about it and 1 bad thing about it. It's roomy because it's a limo is
Monster hunting limo,
things.
right?
My monster hunting limo.
Good. Okay.
And it is not stealthy. It's not fast. And there's a sleeping space in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you know what? No, it's not a limo. It's roomy and there's sleeping space because I do van life.
Oh.
So this is also my where I like live for a few months out of the year.
Hashtag van life. Yep.
Hashtag van life. But I also make my coworkers or the people I'm working with, namely you, ride around with me in it. So you just kind of have to sit. Because I got rid of the rear seats for a bed, you just have to sit on the mattress as I drive around in the Sprinter van.
Oh man!
And so the other things that I'm going to pick for it then are the bad thing is that it is uncomfortable, not to me, but to everybody else.
Yeah,
who is in my Sprinter van.
Okay.
So those are my moves.
Wow.
So,
very good.
Yeah. So now we would go around, we would introduce ourselves to each other, which we kind of already have. So now we get to do the history section.
Yeah.
Where we pick how we know each other and what our relationships are. Flapjack, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So the first one that caught my eye was you caught them committing a crime, but let them go. Ask them to describe the crime and then explain why your code required you to look the other way. I mean, it feels obvious to pick Tennessee novella for this one.
Yes.
So what crime did I catch you doing and then let you go?
I mean, like my main biggest crime, obviously, is just cheating people out of their money. You know, I'm big fun at local fairs and festivals. You know, telling fortunes and things like that. You know, if you pay me extra, obviously, I will give you more detail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like at some point, I'm trying to think of like how does this become like criminal though? Like at what point is it like, okay, you're an idiot for paying a psychic? Like at what point does it cross that line into becoming criminal? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, were you thinking like maybe you were doing some sort of misdirection scheme where like ultimately you would be taking more money from them because like sure they're paying you for your psychic services, but like also, you know, you've got something that maybe takes money from their wallet or, you know.
Well, you know, I think I have it set so that, you know, when it's done and I hold up the little screen and I'm like, would you like to tip? They, you know, hit the button for 20%, but it really gives me 40%. Like,
oh yeah,
I have it set so the math is off, really, is what most of it is about. Is about the, like, how would you rate our service?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder like how I wonder
you were
if
just smart enough to look at the receipt.
Yeah, like
Like
the
check your
printed out
email
receipt or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that like a customer that I was with, or was I the customer? Or gosh,
yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you do. What do you do? Other than be a Muppet.
I'm a detective.
Are
Muppet.
you?
Yeah, I solve crimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
for whom?
For the crime solving agencies. I don't
know. So you're McGruff the crime cat?
Like, are you a private eye?
I'm a private eye crime solver.
Okay. All right.
So you just
you're
do it
Flapjack
for your
the crime cat as opposed to McGruff the crime dog, who was your father.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what it is? The receipt prints out with the accurate, this is how much you were charged or whatever, right? And the person that like I was trying to investigate what's going on in this area, and like I know that you'd normally charge the 20% or whatever and everything, and this person just like threw the receipt down, and my Muppeteer found the receipt and noticed the discrepancy. But I turned the other way because Flapjack didn't find it.
Whoa.
Oh.
So since Flapjack didn't notice it, it was the Muppeteer that noticed it.
I see.
Like, I had to keep acting as if nothing was happening. Nefarious.
My brain
character.
hurts so bad.
Can't break character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is what is funny about this to me is
I just feel like Ryan and I are playing two totally different games here.
Uh-huh.
that's the beauty of Monster of the Week. The thing to me is hearing all of this is right. It's all relatively benign, and yet this is one of the darkest like worlds I've ever experienced. It's just these people who are like, what it's reminding me of so much is, gosh, there's that I don't know if it's an anime or something, but I remember seeing it online. The story, like the illustrated story of like the people who find the hole that is exactly their size in the mountain.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's so unsettling.
Mhm.
That is what this feels like, of people finding the Muppet that is exactly their size, and they put it on, and then they have to just be the Muppet and
They
can't
have to
break
be
character.
a private investigator now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, they think they're in a movie, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Incredible. So they all think they're Truman Show.
That's like a whole different level of dark, because like that can be like serious mental illness.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because you do know a lot of film and TV people. So yeah, from your perspective.
I think this is like either like method acting for a role, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually like the Muppeteer is controlling Flapjack the cat as a character that goes around and solves crimes for a role.
So what I'm realizing is, this actually does change things a little bit to me. So what it is more is the deviance from our world is just that in this world, Muppeteered characters have taken on a point of privilege in like the zeitgeist, in the same way that there's weird like so essentially it's like a dramatic conceit of like, oh yeah, in all of our most famous shows and movies, some of the characters are played in Muppet attire. And so this could be the equivalent of like reality TV stars. And there's just a rich theatrical tradition of Muppetry that far extends beyond our own in our world.
Because if Kermit the Frog walked into like an elementary school classroom, people are going to be talking to the Muppet.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, and if that it's like, if somebody was instead of like, you know, somebody is president, but they are a Muppet being the president, you wouldn't talk to the Muppeteer, you talk to the president.
Exactly.
Who happens to be a Muppet. It's not that Muppets have intruded into our culture. It's that Muppeteers have become much more important in our culture through the characters they create.
I do not think that my brain is grasping all of this. Like, I am very low on my ADHD meds, so I like did not take any for this recording, and I feel like I do not understand what's happening here. But as long as you are happy with it, that's great.
100%.
Okay.
So long story short, my Muppeteer figured out that you were doing a crime, but it wasn't Flapjack the cat that found it out. So I had to keep that information separate.
I see.
I love that it eventually, because one of the moves when you improve is sometimes when you get advanced improvements, you can create a second hunter that you also play. And I love the idea that at some point you get to create a character that is the Muppeteer. Yeah. And the Muppeteer and Flapjack
I would probably use together. The sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. You're your own sidekick.
Wow.
Incredible. Okay, Amelia, you get to pick how you know Flapjack or Grantham.
Okay. Let's
see. From your list of options.
This hunter worked with you on a semi-legal or illegal job. Work out what it was. Grantham.
Yeah.
What were you doing in your capacity with the McAllister aid that might have potentially crossed paths with my thing?
Because you're a con person, right? Like
yes.
your main thing. I think we constructed a monster outbreak, a false one, in order to cover a chemical spill, so that we didn't have to get like OSHA involved.
Wow.
So to cover the fact that we had made a Superfund site, the corporate wing, they had us just make up a monster that covered the symptoms of the chemical exposure, and then deal with it. I
like the idea that somehow, like, the supernatural thing is less suspicious than the super fun part. That you're like, no, don't worry, it wasn't actually a chemical spill. It was Bigfoot. It was just ghosts. So many ghosts. And the government's like, that checks out.
You can't sue a ghost.
Yeah.
You can't sue a ghost.
Nope.
So we did that. And I think you caught on to it pretty early. There was like a moment where it was like, oh no, we're going to have to deal with her. And then it was like, I think probably, because I was probably loosely attached with the actual professionals who were dealing with it. And I was just sort of also there. But then I was like, oh, actually, this would be very useful. She knows how to, like, this is essentially a PR person. And it brought you in on the con, pissed everybody else off on the team. But you did successfully help us complete the job. And so, and I like you more because other people are annoyed. Like the other professionals are annoyed by you. So I think we're very similar.
All right. I love the idea that, like, I could also be good at, like the public relations portion, like that charlatan skill would translate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Super fun to clean up sites. I like it.
Very good.
I like it.
Okay, great. And then it goes to me. I pick for, let's see, I got to get back to the professional. Okay, so I'm going to pick one. Let's see. Okay. You are related. Tell them how close.
Oh, gosh.
Flapjack. Your Muppeteer is, I know your Muppeteer is my half sibling because my mother is a Muppet.
Oh my God.
Who had an affair, had a child out of wedlock, which is you. I only know my mother through the Muppet, but I do know that the Muppeteer that runs my mother had another child, and that is you. But I can't talk to you about it because you don't break character.
I do not. I'm sorry. I don't understand the... Okay,
if you're following along with all of this, check out Mystery County because it's a lot of the same.
Yeah, it is, truly.
So your mom is a Muppet or a Muppeteer?
Well, so technically, biologically, my mom is a Muppeteer. Right. But professionally and in the open, my mom is the character that she plays, which is the Muppet. Okay. So I interact with my mother through her Muppet.
I see. So the Muppet persona is who you know to be your mother.
Yes,
she has raised you in her Muppet form.
Right.
This is puppet therapy to the next level.
100%. So my mom's Muppet is a hard-bitten professional running a nonprofit. No. I'm gonna change this a little bit. Okay. That is my mother. My actual biological mother died years ago and was replaced by a different Muppeteer. So I still have to interact with my mother, who is the Muppet, even though the biological entity that was operating my mother passed away. But because of the rules of this freaking world that we're
not legally recognized as separate people.
Yeah, exactly. So
whoever is Muppeteering your mother, it still signs all your school permission slips and everything.
Right. And I don't know who the Muppeteer is because I never get a chance to see them. All I know is that their actual biological child is inside the Muppet of Flapjack. And that's the only thing I want to know is who is this person? How can I get to know them? But I deeply respect the autonomy of Muppets. I would never take a Muppet's flesh off without its permission. I would never reveal a Muppeteer.
I am playing a totally different game for you two.
No, you're completely in it. You just, you know what? It's just like, it's not a subculture you care about.
I really don't understand this Muppet thing.
It's you know what? It's just like a rich person thing.
Maybe.
It's a thing that the rich people in this world do. There's a bunch of Muppeteering stuff.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But so that's what
That's
it
right.
is. So,
I was just in the wrong tax bracket.
exactly. So, So, Flapjack, by some standards, you and I are half siblings.
So the Muppeteer of Grantham's Muppet mother is Flapjack's Muppeteer's mother.
Yes.
Okay.
It makes perfect sense.
That makes sense.
I'm going to need someone to draw this family tree for me.
Flapjack, I think you get to pick another relationship.
Yeah. So this is going to be a relationship with you, Grantham. You were friends back in training before you became a private investigator. This could be military, law enforcement, or whatever. Decide the details between you. It has to be, I was originally set up to be part of your organization.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So you went through training at McAllister Aid.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
Aid.
my Muppeteer's mother is your mother's Muppeteer.
Pulled some strings and got you in.
No.
We can't have Amelia quit the podcast right now.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's so funny.
Oh my God. Okay.
I quit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were good friends before we found out about the
Well, here's an important thing. Do you know what I know? Like,
I don't think I know.
Yeah.
I don't think I know that my mother is your Muppet mother's Muppeteer.
I agree. Yeah. So that's
Okay, I just want to point out that my new favorite expletive in this world is son of a Muppet.
Yeah. You Muppet mother.
It sounds so bad.
It does. Okay, yeah, we were buddies, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You were always the try-hard, doing well.
Yeah.
Did you leave of your own accord, or did you get drummed out of the program?
I think there was like, gosh, it has to be like maybe a disagreement between Flapjack and your Muppet mother.
I feel like Flapjack has more scruples than McAllister's Aid really cares for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the general vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like Flapjack needed to go on his own to kind of do things the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see that as like a safety valve to have access to, of like, oh, this person, we do have like an official public mandate that we're trying to do. And when we actually need to like do the right thing, then I, lean on Flapjack as somebody who can officially kind of help whitewash our activities. Yeah. Great. Amelia, you get to pick.
Okay, so one of my options, two. So either this hunter is your younger sibling or child, possibly adopted, or this hunter is a cousin or a more distant relative.
And these are about Flapjack.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how on earth I would be distantly related to all of this, but it feels like that is like the track that we're going on here. So how am I Flapjack or Flapjack's Muppeteer?
Right.
I think Flapjack.
I don't understand how that works. I just don't understand how a character can be your sibling. Think of it like, I don't.
Think of it like we're in a Muppet movie, and the Muppets are actual people.
Right, but here's the thing: in the Muppet movie, like I understand the concept of what a Muppet is.
Yeah.
But we never address the Muppeteer as a thing.
Exactly.
As
That's
part
why
of that
it's funny
universe.
notice such a thing.
So that's why I don't understand.
So this is a world in which this is like a Muppet movie where they're constantly talking about the humans just off screen.
Yeah.
Oh, except for no, they can't, because that would be breaking character.
There's the implication that they are there.
I just don't understand how I, as a person, can be related to a giant human-sized cat.
Mm.
That sounds like more of a Tennessee issue.
I don't know.
Well, also, I will point out, you are self-selecting this problem because you have other options of relating.
I know, but this makes the most sense, even though it makes no sense.
I do like the thought of it just being like, that's just the way it is.
I like the idea, though, that like Flapjack's Muppeteer is like a younger sibling, and I think that they've died, because I've just never heard from them again, because they are Flapjack now. So like I think that this younger sibling.
I like this. So your sibling is also the Muppeteer of Flapjack, which means your mother is my mother's Muppeteer. Is my mother's Muppeteer.
Yes.
That's a thing you know, but that I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
I am like,
I know this thing that he doesn't know. And then you're like, well, but I know this thing that you don't.
Right. But the thing is that like, I think that like my sibling is dead, because my sibling is Flapjack now, because Flapjack never breaks character.
Right.
So like, I've just not heard from my sibling in years.
Yeah. But do you know that your sibling is Flapjack?
No.
Whoa. Okay. So that's just a down the line discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So what would cause then Tennessee to treat Flapjack? Is it like some of Flapjack's mannerisms that remind you of your younger sibling? I think there must be
something that there's something in the movements, or that it's like interesting. Like I've never met anybody who does that, you know?
Yeah, like, I feel protective of this person because they remind me of my younger brother.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like Fox Mulder meeting somebody that reminds him of his little sister in mannerisms, and then discovering that it's actually his little sister wearing a mask.
And I do like the thought of Flapjack is a grizzled old veteran PI, but the person Muppeteering Flapjack is like this young 19-year-old fresh out of school like individual.
Voice keeps cracking as they try to do the Columbo voice. That's incredible. Okay, and then so I pick one for Tennessee. The one that came up immediately to me that I think is fun is, so we worked together, and that went well. I think it's the option that I'm seeing here is they're on the agency's watch list, and I've been assigned to keep an eye on them. I think your abilities at pretending to be a psychic are good enough that when we worked with you, you got flagged in our system as an
actual psychic,
a potential like an Omega level threat potentially.
Oh, no.
Right? Like you're like, they're like, oh, she's the real deal, and we need to be very alert. I know that you're not. I think I because we work together.
So you're like, easiest job ever.
Easiest job in the world. Exactly. I'm like, I'm
in zero danger.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody needs. I'll selflessly. I'll agree. And then so I just like I'm around you all the time, just milking it so that I don't have to do any work.
Are you like sending progressively more outlandish reports back of like my doings?
Yeah.
To like make it seem like you're like, wow, just like really up to something.
Yeah. The problem is I keep escalating your threat level within the organization on accident. Yeah. 100%.
But you seem to be managing it well, so they're letting you keep it for now.
100%. Yeah. We're a lot of close calls, but they're all getting resolved.
Right.
Wow.
And they're, and each one, they increase my per diem and give me more funds to spend on my Sprinter van. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to find this out and make you cut me in on it.
100%. Yeah. Cons on cons.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. So we've essentially then made our characters. And now we would put those all in the lap of a keeper and be like, you make something.
Yeah, here you go.
Have
And they'll
fun.
be like, I don't understand this Muppet thing.
Yeah. And I think a keeper probably would try to sort out more further the rules around Muppet stuff. I do think there is a world in which, like, I do think there is a logic to it all that, like, that does kind of lend itself out. Like this idea of there are characters in our culture that are so important to us, like Flapjack the cat, that the character, it's important to society that that character continue to exist,
Right.
that quote unquote person continue to exist,
Right.
and somebody just has to play it. and
Right.
that just in the same way of there's been so many different Kermits, but
Right.
Kermit
Yeah. I mean,
doesn't
like
change.
how many different people have voiced Mickey Mouse over time?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that's yeah.
And it's just a society that's a little bit more willing to force somebody to spend every minute of their life as that role and not have that distinction. Do you get a day off? Like
Only by choice.
okay, so
I can take off any
pick
day I want. Yeah, the Muppeteer can take off and just, you know, be himself or go out. Like I'm sure there's times where Flapjack will just be sitting there, an empty shell, while the Muppeteer's off doing whatever.
Now, then, which begs an important question: are other humans allowed to notice that Flapjack is not, or do the rest of us all have to act like Flapjack is still an intact person?
He's just sleeping.
Flapjack never breaks character, so I don't feel like Flapjack would be like in a position where someone could discover that
Right.
situation.
Yeah,
Flapjack
I
would be
think
like,
that would,
"Oh,
that's
I'm
the way it
taking
would
a
be
long
played.
weekend camping trip."
Like
And
the time when it is fully discovered and Flapjack and the Muppeteer become separate entities within the game world, that's when the playbook change would probably happen.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You have to go and be your own person again.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's incredible.
Wow.
This is bonkers. I love also that we're all intimately related to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
And just and may never find out due to the varying levels of how complex the relationships are.
Yes.
You're gonna have to have a murder board just to figure out how we're
Yeah.
related to one another.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
I don't know what we just did,
Yeah,
but
we
it
made some
feels like
people.
it might have been a crime.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the nature of this group, though.
It's well, we'll solve it. I will both do the crime and help solve it.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
That's the kind of guy
That's so
I am.
good. That is so good.
Wow.
Well, so we did it. We made some people.
Wow. Okay.
We made some people.
We did.
Oh,
Tyler, thank you so much for sitting through all of this with us. Thanks for still being here after everything that just happened.
I mean, I feel culpable as much as anything else. So I definitely egged on every
That's
wild choice I possibly could.
Do you want to remind people where they can find you online and what sorts of things you're working on?
Yeah, look up the podcast at mysterycounty.com or on the One Shot Network. You can find it wherever podcasts are found. That's the main thing I'm doing right now. And yeah, you can find us on social media at Mystery County. We don't really use it very much because we're just those kinds of people. If you find us, if you want to talk to us about anything or do anything, listen to our episode, and when you listen to it, you'll be able to do the link to access our Discord, and that's where we're all most active. So check us out there. Yeah.
absolutely. And thank you to everybody for listening. Please join us on the next episodes for our discussion block. Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
Well, I wish I had Amelia here to discuss the results of everything that transpired during the character creation portion of this series. But I wanted to thank Tyler and Amelia for dealing with my nonsense. And it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this series. I really enjoyed this game. I'm glad we were finally able to cover it. And honestly, living out my best Muppet dreams in this spooky October is absolutely fantastic. And if you didn't catch it, my character was loosely modeled after my cat Binks, who is a very fluffy orange tabby. So if you've ever seen pictures of Binks, you might understand where that's coming from. But before we let you go for the day, we do have some calls to action. First up, we've had an exciting lead up to the network Patreon Drive, also known as One Shot Oberfest. 4 new shows have been added to the lineup alongside 2 more brand new shows from a little earlier. Gamewoven, Roleplay Retcon, What Am I Rolling, and Herald's Horn all joined the network over the last month. And this is in addition to Starwhal's public feed going live, and now we've got 5 or 6 episodes in, and that's really exciting. As well as the Ultimate RPG podcast with James D'Amato, doing some absolutely phenomenal world building and character creation with guests, including some really great discussion along the way. All of these shows are listed in our new show section in the show notes for this episode, so please check them out if you have a chance. As of right now, and more importantly, we are right in the middle of the One Shot Network annual Patreon Drive One Shot Toberfest. This event runs every day until October 30th to help raise funds for the network as a whole. This pays for things like equipment replacements for when our gear goes bad, hosting for all of the shows, as well as paying performers and editors for the main one-shot shows like One Shot, Campaign Skyjacks, Starwhal, and more. With more funds, the show and the network can do a lot more things. And for this event, you'll be able to see cool things like live stream stuff every day on the One Shot Twitch channel at twitch.tv/OneShotRPG. There will even be bonus content at the One Shot Patreon, including a Session 0 featuring both myself and Amelia, creating a world and characters for Chimera with folks from other shows on the network. And part 1 of that releases today. That and so much more can be found at patreon.com/OneShotPodcast. If we can get just under $200 more per month for the network, then the AP we just recorded yesterday will be produced and released as a bonus series on the One Shot Podcast feed. And then Dylan Apelian, host of the One Shot Podcast, and Tracy Barnett, bespoke production leader person of the entire network, will host a character creation series for our show. We would really love to make this happen, so if there's any chance you can give a little for at least a month, that would be super helpful. In addition to all of that, we have your election season reminder to ensure that you know about your options for voting for those folks in the US. Head over to vote.gov to get example ballots for your polling location, as well as any other info you might need to know going into November. It might be too late to register for some states, but if it isn't, you'll definitely want to make sure you've done that too, if you haven't already. Finally, if you like what we're doing here and want to support our show specifically, please head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/charactercreationcast and sign up for any of our basic tiers as a free trial. We have so many great rewards associated with this, including stickers, dice, bonus episodes, and whatnot, as well as chit chats, and other things that we really want to get back to, but we just have not had the time to yet. But that is yet, and we hope to get there starting soon. So we also have bonus outtakes for all patrons, and even the free ones. So now is a great time to sign up and help us out in the process. We also like to thank all of our patrons personally every episode. You all mean so much to us. So let's get started. DJG, aka Tigranosaurus, Eric Bounce, and Daryl Holiday II, many thanks to you. Thanks to Shadim Cabal, The Shyest Barbarian, and Benjamin Sweeney. Rob Fletcher and Kevin Brown, you're the best. Thank you. Thank you to Tentacle Duck, John Adamus, and A3 Sketchpad. Cole McCallum, Carlos Salazar, and Ericus, thank you so much. Ian Popmeyer, Sorry Goth, and Liam G, we appreciate your support. Thank you. We also appreciate your support, Brian Colm, Cardin GM, and Tanglefoot. Thanks. Thanks to Blue Kryptonite, Danny, and Nicole Trainer. We are glad to have you with us. We're also glad to have you here, Liam Murray, Kenny, and Brian Kurtz. Thanks for supporting. And Mark E. Fair and Drew Owen, thank you both as well for your continued support. And thank you to all of our future patrons. Your support means the absolute world to us. Every bit of support here helps tremendously, and we are incredibly grateful to all of you. If you are already supporting the Patreon or can't afford to do so right now and still want to show your support for the show, the next best way to do so is to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, or even Facebook, and we'll read your review right here and thank you personally. That's all we have for today's episode. Join us next time where we discuss this process and get into some remarkable fanfic. But until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Drink some water. Vote when you're able to. Keep being spooky and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at CreationCast, or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, exclusive merch, and much more at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.